Hello everybody, this is Kyrix with another episode of This Week in Kyrix. This is for the week of Wednesday, January 20th, 2021, being recorded on Monday, January 18th, 2021, and this is take 2 because my dumbass hit a button. So yeah, we did Shark Day finally. Me and Robert got together Saturday, went up to the store, got candy and some more popcorn for me, because I ate all of mine, because I needed snacks, and sat down and watched the Deep Blue Sea trilogy. Now, the thing you need to know about Deep Blue Sea is each movie has a science lady. I don't know why it's a science lady and never a science guy. They could mix it up. But there's a science lady. Only in the first one was she the one in charge of everything. The second one had a guy. Third one didn't have... Well, we'll get to the third one. Third one was a bit of a stray from the formula. But anyway... I know first movie had the Mako sharks. We didn't pay much attention because it came out in '99. We both grew up with the movie. We've fucking seen it. You know what I mean? So that was just our chance to hang out and bullshit and poke fun at the movie occasionally. When I say poke fun, realize we love that movie. We really do. It's just we've seen it 100 times. I mean... It's one of those movies where about the only thing that I've seen more than that is Jurassic Park. Cause, yeah. Anyway, then we put in Deep Blue Sea 2, which apparently he had seen once. He had thought he'd seen it, and then when he saw the DVD image on the TV, by the way, we were using my PS4, but using the front room. But when he saw it, he's like, "Oh, I've seen this once." He didn't remember a lot of details, but he did remember some. This time they switched over to bull sharks instead of Makos. But something that both I and TV Tropes pointed out was that at no point was it even mentioned the fact that bull sharks can exist in fresh water. Which is one of the two things that makes them so dangerous. The other one being that they are incredibly aggressive animals. And, I didn't like the science lady from 2 because it was pretty clear from the moment that someone asked her the question, is there any kind of shark you won't swim with, that this girl had a bug up her ass about bull sharks, and that the movie was going to be about bull sharks. And by the way, I want to point out, I figured out they were bull sharks on my own beforehand, because we're looking at the Deep Blue Sea 2 screen, because we waited a couple minutes before the movie started. And I happened to notice there were 5 sharks. I'm like, those 2 in the middle look kind of like bull sharks. The others look like great whites. And I did remember something about great whites from one of the movies from reading the little back blurb. But it turns out none of the sharks were great whites, but great whites appeared in the third one. We'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, here we have a science lady who basically is just saying bull sharks are the devil. In so many words, that's what she fucking says. That was the message of the movie. That yes, sharks are wonderful, important animals who have a vital place in the ecosystem. But bull sharks are pure evil conjured from Satan's butthole. You know. None of that was said, but believe me, it was heavily implied. I've seen a lot of movies like this. And I was arguing with Robert, the reason we know that the movie came out in '99 is because there was a scene involving one of the sharks breaching. Or there was a scene where if the shark had breached, that would have, don't do it, that would have changed the scene entirely. But I pointed out that the shark movies aren't what science knows, they're what the public knows, and the public didn't know that sharks breached at the time. Because Air Jaws hadn't come out yet, and he's like, no, it totally had. I'm like, no, it didn't. And then I looked it up. The movie came out in '99. Air Jaws came out in 2001. So, close, but no cigar. But anyway, Deep Blue Sea 2 was actually pretty cool. It was enjoyable. It was a good shark movie, in so much as that is a thing that exists. Because, let's face it, most of these killer animal movies, not that great. And I'm the guy who says that if you enjoy the movie, it's a good movie. I'm talking about the science and shit. Like, you have to suspend a lot of disbelief on these animal movies. And, then we got to Deep Blue Sea 2, and I was kind of iffy on the science lady there because she wasn't horrible, but she wasn't great. You know what I mean? She was dumb. She struck me at first as being a fucking hippie college student. And I mean, like, oh, nature's wonderful. One of those people who thinks nature is utterly perfect and everything humanity does is bad. You know, let's call them Lion King naturalists, where they think like, oh, these animals will all get along in nature. And I run into those people on Facebook all the time. You cannot see something with an animal and not get 50 comments saying, oh, this animal should be in its natural habitat. And I'm like, you're not in your natural habitat, shut the fuck up. And then I was confused, I'm like, dude, humans are a domesticated species. Shut up, I don't care. Quit howling at me, Discord. I'm not looking at it. Fuck you. You know, we're taking that alert off. One moment. I'm tired of getting notifications from Discord on shit. Stop. Anyway. I wish I could be more specific with that I don't want notifications on Discord from any of the rooms I'm part of. I just want to get private messages. But anyway. I'm guessing it's flashing like that because I'm recording. My controller light's flashing. Because I had it plugged in. Anyway, you run into these people, and they think everything should be in its natural habitat, and I'm like, dude, humans are a domesticated species. We do tricks for food just like animals do, okay? What do you think a job is? A job is you doing a trick, and your master giving you a reward for it that you then use for sustenance. Or entertainment, or whatever. I'm like, I'll make you a deal. You strip butt naked and live in the wild with no fucking tools for 4 months, and then I'll listen to everything you have to say about how this animal needs to be in its natural habitat. Because here's the thing, nature's not nice. Nature's not a fucking good thing, okay? Nature wants everything dead. And that's something you need to get through your fucking noggin, okay? I call them Lion King naturalists because... Sorry. Because in the Lion King, you're like, oh, here's a warthog and a meerkat and a lion cub, and then later an adult lion, all getting along and being friends. And while there are rare cases where shit like that can happen, they're rare cases, and that's why we know about them, because it's not something you just go outside and see. Like, no one's gonna look at the Facebook video like, oh, that's so amazing, if it's 2 dogs that live in the same house that are best buddies. They will if it's a cat and a dog, because we've been conditioned since childhood that cats and dogs hate each other, when that's frankly not fucking true. But you get what I'm saying. And most of those cases where animals will befriend each other like that tend to happen in captivity, where food is not an issue. And meerkats, actually, for as friendly as they are, don't really mix well with a lot of species. Like, there is a rather adorable thing of this juvenile male cheetah. I don't remember his name, but he's in an area where they have meerkats in a cage. And the meerkats are trying to attack and kill him through the cage. Like, they'll reach through and claw at him and shit. But because they're so small and weak, to him they just feel like scratching, so he thinks they're his best friends and they want him dead, kind of a thing, you know. So, but Deep Blue Sea 3 was fun. There were some scenes that annoyed me, like they're in this very, very biologically rich reef area where white sharks are pupping, I guess. Which I think is something they pulled out of their ass, because I'm pretty sure we still don't know how white sharks' reproduction cycles work. I know that we haven't for a long time. I don't know if that's changed, because white sharks are kind of a weird biological gray area on what we know and what we don't know. But, Anyway, it's like, oh, they'll come here to pup, they'll come here to feed, etc. And suddenly you introduce these 3 genetically engineered bull sharks from the previous movie that are literally biting white sharks in half. And they're going to argue about shit like, oh, you shouldn't be here, we don't need your help. I'm like, bitch, you have bull sharks biting white sharks in half. You need literally all the help you can get, okay? Save the dick waving for after the disaster. Then you can wave dicks all fucking day. Another thing that irked me, and we're going to backtrack to movie number 2, is in that movie, Bella, the main bull shark, had given birth to, like, 30 tiny piranha-like bull sharks. And when I say tiny, I mean they're the length of your forearm. By shark standards, they're itty-bitty, you know. And I, of course, took issue with the fact that there were so many. I looked it up. Bull sharks can have up to 13 pups, which is more than I thought. I was thinking like 3 or 4, but far less than the 20 or so we'd see on screen at a time. But then again, Bella had been genetically tweaked, and she was a lot larger than she should be, so it's anyone's guess what that did to her reproductively. Now, the big thing, and me and Robert snarked at this endlessly, is that the 3rd movie took place on this man-made artificial island, and we both correctly guessed that island was going down at some point in the movie, and to an extent it did. But she's like, oh, this used to be a thriving, bustling place, and now there's only 2 people on the island because global warming and rising sea levels. And we're looking at it and we're like, nothing looks wrong. We're like, this town seems completely fine. I don't see rising sea levels, I see a town that's built on the fucking water. Because we live in Florida and we know what that shit looks like, okay? We've both been to John's Pass. We both go fishing at a place called Allen's Creek where there's houses on the water that look just like that. Where you've got your own little dock, you know? This isn't like water in the streets. This is water a good 2 or 3 feet under the street like it's supposed to be. I'm not gonna be wrong. Seas get rough and the waves get high. Shit's breaking. But by all accounts, these docks don't look like they were designed to have been built 20 feet off the water. Everything looks the way it's supposed to look. And we both took issue with that because it's fucking stupid. I mean, you could just say like, oh, the fish went bad, or too many white sharks, or, you know, the tech was bad, or just some other reason other than, oh, rising seawater. I'm like, no. They threw in this whole climate change thing that had no place in the story and didn't even match up with what you were seeing on the screen. I'm like, you could have dropped this arc because they barely brought it up, so even mentioning it at all was fucking stupid. But as it turns out, I vastly overestimated how much popcorn I had. The one popcorn that I had before we went shopping was plenty to get me through the day. In fact, I didn't even finish it. I think either one of my roommates did or he just flat out tossed it out, which pisses me off either way because it was mine. So, yeah, we hung out, we did that. I'm still waiting to hear from unemployment. Though, by all accounts, I should be getting it. I just gotta... One of the problems is the fact that this site is under maintenance at the moment and should be until, like, Tuesday. So I'm not going to find anything out until then, and even then I'm probably not going to find anything out. I'm basically waiting for a letter to come in like last time. Because last time they sent a letter and that cleared everything up. I just want to know what the fuck... What fucking hoops do they want me to jump in to get my fucking check? That's what I want to know. Okay? Because I'm willing to jump through some goddamn hoops. I worked for 2 years. I'm not too proud to jump through a fucking hoop to get my paycheck, okay? So just tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. And anyway, when that settles out, cool. I'll have some income. Things can stabilize a bit, because right now I'm in kind of a gray area. I had to go and borrow money from a friend on Shark Day, actually. Robert took me over there. Shit, I gotta get with Robert about those Machops. There was a community day on Pokemon Go, and he caught like 5 extra shiny Machops. He had the 3 he needed, he had one for his wife, and he had like 5 extras. and I mentioned giving them to me, so he's going to send them to me at some point. And that'll be that. Here's the question, though. Do I want him to do them via Pokemon Go to my Pokemon Home and just put them straight into Shield? Or do I want to send them to Let's Go Eevee, catch them myself, and name them? I don't know. I'll probably just have him name them. Or I'll have him name one of them and see if that transfer's okay. You know. But yeah, that gives me 3 shiny Machops. Like, oh, I don't want to give you this good one. I'm like, dude, I have the means to make them exactly the way I want them. Like, they're going to know all the moves I want them to know, with the exception of some egg moves. They'll have the nature I want. They'll have the EVs that I want. And they'll have the IVs that I want. We're cool. They'll also have the ability I want. So that's also cool. Maya, get out of there. Don't want to think that you might be eating poop. So, yeah, still waiting on unemployment. Still, Shark Week happened. Had to borrow money from a friend. That being said, I'm not worried about that money as long as that check comes in soon, because I should be getting like 2 something per check, so that's 150 I owe out. And by all accounts, Biden has plans when he takes office. When this episode goes out, actually, he should be taking office. He has plans where he's going to increase the money going to unemployment. So that'll help tremendously. I might actually start being able to set money aside for things. Let me look that up. Because there was a slight discrepancy between what I thought and what my roommate thought it was. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I thought. My roommate thought it was $400 per month, and I said it's $400 per week. He's like, no, they're not going to do that. I'm like, yeah, I think they are. Yeah, Biden's looking to add $400 a week to disability checks, meaning I would be making about $600 and change a week. Which I thought, I'm like, oh, that's almost what I made at work. And then I remembered, because I'm thinking, oh, I made $800 a check at work. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, my checks were bi-weekly, not weekly. So I would basically be making close to double what I made at Walmart, which will give me, again, enough money to cover my bills and to set money aside and be able to get things that I want, especially when you add the stimulus into that. And my roommate's like, oh, they're not going to do that. They're not going to put that much money out. I'm like, dude, that's what other countries got their stimulus monthly, so it's not out of the question. But anyway, that'll give me the time I need to get everything set up. That'll get my bike fixed, which will allow me to get more job searches out there, you know. And so on. We'll see where this leads for me. I just gotta get... Because here's the thing, it says I'm eligible. So it's just a matter of completing whatever steps they want me to complete, but I don't know what they want me to complete, because the only thing I didn't do was sign up for this little work program. But their site flat out says that requirement is waived until the end of March, which is probably going to get extended if the crisis continues, you know. So I'm basically just waiting for a letter, an email, or whatever saying, hey, you've either done all the steps or you need to do this step. So there's also the fact that by all accounts they keep the first week's check, so I might just be waiting for the second week to happen. But whatever. All I know is right now my bills are all accounted for, minus the $100 I owe on rent. But my roommate let his cousin get away with $2,000 over the limit, and with me having the stimulus coming and and unemployment coming, that's not going to be a thing here, you know. I'm like, all he has to do is wait a little bit, and the money will come flowing in. Okay, what else hit? Alright, there's Dropbox, there's Kitnip Box. Don't mind me, I'm taking this lull to do my finances. That's the one good thing about me, is I've always been meticulous about my money. which is kind of funny when you consider the fact that me not taking into account a payment is what screwed me this month. Okay, that's out. That's out. Got, what, $12 left? Okay, yeah, I think that's a wrap. That's all my bills until the first of the month. Minus what's left of rent, which I only owe him $100, not $225. Because I flat out paid like $400 down on that, or like $350. That's what it was. Okay, this goes away. This goes away. So yeah, we're good. Aside from that, I've been working a little bit on Kingdom Hearts. I haven't done any more recordings, but I have done a lot more grinding. And my tendency to prep for things is kind of going to fuck up this playthrough. In that it's going to be very story heavy because I'm not going to be challenged by the combat. I am almost level 40 or something in a game. I'm like in the mid-30s on the second world. I'm about to go into my third world of the fucking game at level 30 when Aqua's supposed to beat the game at like level 29. So that ought to tell you everything you need to know. Basically, my plan was, hey, I'm going to get these items because I'm like, oh, they're only going to give me access to these items off the bat, and then I'll max them out, and then as time goes on, I'll get access to more spells. Well, by the second world of the game, I have access to every base spell of the game. And unlike a lot of games, how this works is you get these slots. Let's call them slots. Like I have the Blizzard slot. If I get 2 Blizzard slots to max level, which is 3, I can meld them into a Blizzard 2 or Blizzara slot. And if I get 2 of those, I can meld them into Blizzaga level 3, which maxes it out. Here's the thing. Once you get one of those slots for the very first time, it becomes available in the shop forever. So basically it's not like, oh, I found 1 fire slot. It's, oh, I have 1 fire slot. Now I own 30 because enemies keep dropping them and I keep buying more. So basically by the second game, you've given me the means to get every spell in the game, and I'm gonna fucking do it, because that's how I roll. You know, that's just how I operate. Plus, I have access to all but a couple abilities in the game, right off the bat. And ironically, most of those abilities have to do with experience. Which, by the time I get them, I won't fucking need them. You know, I'll fucking beat this game at level 99 at this rate. And those are only because I don't have an item called Abounding Crystal. When I find like 4 or 5 Abounding Crystals, I'll be able to make all of those items. But one thing I've been doing is I've been playing, and to an extent recording, some of my Dead by Daylight matches. And I have started something brand new. Do not expect to see this in a lot of videos, but it will come up like in the Dead by Daylight ones where I feel the extra analysis is needed. I now can annotate my videos. This is something I've always been able to do, but never tried to do and never really thought about. And even though this is exciting to me and it's something I really want to do, I'm really hard pressed to think of areas where it's viable, where it's something I should do. But with Dead by Daylight it is, because I'm constantly learning new things about this game. And in the first video that I was going to show a friend of mine, I say a lot of shit that, looking back, I'm like, wow, that was wrong, or, oh, here's what this was, you know. So basically, I watched the whole video, annotated it, saved it, and then realized I needed to annotate another thing. But, yeah. Dead by Daylight is coming up with an update that I'm really excited about. It's a HUD update. And I hope it comes in soon. I think it's due sometime before February. And what it is it's moving all the stuff around. Like, normally your victims and all that are in the lower left corner. This will move them to the upper left corner. and it'll have them vertically instead of horizontally. It'll also have their faces of the character next to them, including, like, not just, oh, this is Dwight, but this is Dwight with this look on him. You know, so you could say, oh, that's Dwight number 1 versus Dwight number 2, which has blue hair or something. But the real kicker is that it has the number of hooks they've had next to them. And this will allow me to space things out a little more. Like, I don't have to... Because a lot of times, especially if they're not winning, like if they're 4 generators to go, like if they've done 1 generator, I don't want to start killing them off right away. Because, and this may come as a shock, I do want to win, but I also want to win in a way that gets them a lot of points if I can. And this will allow me to do that. It's like, oh, I've downed you, but you're on hook number 2, or you're on hook number 3. Next time you're hooked, you're dead. I'm going to leave you here, go find one of your friends. But more importantly, because of the face thing, of me being able to see the faces, because you see the faces and the names together on the sign-in screen, but once you sign in, the pictures go away. They don't tell you what character it is, and they just have the name. And the characters themselves, for obvious reasons, don't have their name over their head. I say for obvious reasons because that would make hiding impossible. When I just look at the grass and see, oh, here's Bob Riley 79, you know. Oh, I know where you are. And would you believe that's the moment right there during this commentary that I realized that's why you can't see their names. Because I was always like, why can't you see their names? That makes it really hard. But, so I would have to remember these 4 characters when I can't remember characters to begin with. You know? And I'd have to remember which one had which name so that I know which one's the obsession. Because, especially with Michael Myers, a lot of his perks deal with the obsession. And a lot of his perks get severely hampered if I hit the obsession. So all I would have to do with this new system is say, oh, look, this person with the blue hair is my obsession. I'm not fucking with them yet. Or in the case of Freddy, where his obsession is get her killed quick, or him, I could hunt that person specifically. You know, just to get them off the map and make my powers work. But I think the new HUD will be good. I know it'll frustrate a lot of people, because change always frustrates people, and I'm one of those people. But I, as a low-tier player, really see it as an improvement, a quality-of-life improvement for me personally. And apparently, you can tweak the size of the HUD itself, so you can make the text bigger, or you can make it much smaller, you know. But again, just the feature of the 2 hook symbols is amazing. And it's going to piss off a lot of players, or a lot of survivors, rather. Because apparently, and I've seen some of them, but apparently it's more the case if you're a lot of toxic-ass survivors that complain about literally everything you do as a killer. And basically, they seem to only want killers to just exist on the map but not actually do anything. You know what I mean? Where they're like, oh, you actually tried to win, how fucking dare you? I'm like, fuck it. You know? And maybe it's just because I have been in a lot of competitive games, especially tabletop, for decades now. And maybe it's that I grew up with a lot of anime, which really influenced how I view competition. But I'm one of those people who, when you beat me, the first thing I do is look at what I might have done wrong, so that I can close that loophole, so that next time you're not going to beat me that way, you know? I mean, yeah, there are times, and you will see me online, where I'm like, oh, this stupid game, it's the game's fault, etc., because sometimes it fucking is. And sometimes there are literal cheaters, you know? But a lot of times, that's not the case at all. You know, sometimes it's just, hey, if I weren't fucking stupid, this wouldn't have happened. Zooming in on this game a bit, it's amazing what a difference good armor will make. Like, if I had been in the starting armor, these guys would have fucking hacked me to pieces by now. But because I'm in decent armor, a lot of their attacks just bounce right off me, you know. But anyway, so yeah, I have some annotations on there. I don't see the need to do it for things like This Week in Kyrix because, again, like I've said in the past, this game is not important. The game just serves as something you can look at if you choose to look at it while you listen to me ramble on. It's basically there to keep me talking. Because I have in the past when my game was down or my recording software was down or was going wrong, I have in the past had situations where I've had to run This Week in Kyrix with just my little Larvitar background, and those would quickly dwindle in time. They'd start at like a half an hour, and then I'd have like 2-minute updates that aren't even worth uploading to YouTube, you know. Like, hey, nothing happened, bye, you know. Whereas if I have a game in the background, like right here, I'm encouraged to talk through the whole fucking thing so that you don't just have a thing at the end where there's no content. And the pre-recording forces me to do it even more because this already exists. I can't just end the video early. And where normally I could end the video early, we now have the situation that because I have so many of these recorded in advance, if I end early, you're gonna miss shit. And if there's anyone here who is invested in what's going on in this game, they're gonna wonder, hey, when did you get all those troops? Did you grind off screen? No, I just ended the video early. No. So, I'm really loving this new setup. 2021 has been the year of experimentation for my channel. I've done extensive pre-recording, pre-things. I have started putting videos up in HD because I finally figured out how, and I've started annotating videos. This is actually, for my channel, a good year because it's making me do 3 small but very new things for this channel. And the best part is, none of them are going to be completely full on. Like, I'm not going to do This Week in Kyrix in HD because there's so goddamn many of them and there's no reason to. I'm not going to annotate every single video I do because most of them don't need it. For the most part, my commentary is sufficient. And I'm not going to pre-record every video, especially in the case of blind runs, which is about 60% what I do. You know? Like, I'll do it for this, I'll do it for the Shantae games, because I plan to co-commentate them, and I'll do it for Star Trek Online and maybe a couple others, but for the most part, it's all live commentary. So these are all options my channel has, and I fucking love that. On a side note, if we do get those 400 a week extra on unemployment, I'm going to start getting more hard drives. And if I get more hard drives, then outside of This Week in Kyrix, you will start seeing every new video I do being HD. You know. And I might even go so far as to get another laptop or another computer that basically serves just to edit these things, you know. So that way I can edit it without other shit going on in the background and so on. So, who knows? Losing my job could have been the best thing that happened to this channel. Because so far, 2021 has been good to my channel. I've been uploading the shit that I plan to upload on time. Early, in fact, which is even better. I've been keeping up with This Week in Kyrix. Like I said, I'm like 27, 28 episodes in recording-wise. And it's just a matter of doing the commentary afterwards when the time comes. I've been playing a lot of Star Trek Online. They actually have a new scenario out. I think it's for a space set. Like, deflector shield, impulse engines, shields, warp core singularity, that kind of thing. Where it's got the 5 things with the 4 parts. Which could be cool, because I like to put shit like that on my ships. But, it's one of those where you have an option of playing the task force, which is generally what I do, or the story mode, which I do at least once. And the task force is interesting. It's not bad, it's not good, but it's interesting because it involves something that I'm guessing is from Picard, because it involves something called the synth that I've never heard of. And basically they're attacking Mars, and you've got to go and there's this widening, or this shrinking circle of influence you have. Satellites are getting taken over, and you've got to rescue people and either put them on transport or put them on starships. And the thing that makes me think that it's Picard is I see starships like the Prometheus and the Galaxy in there, and not like Constitution or Discovery stuff, you know. So, anyway, you do this. The synth themselves aren't dangerous, but they are numerous, and they slow you down because they're all over the place, and when you get attacked, you go into red alert, and when you go to red alert, you can't go to full impulse, which cuts your speed down to like a third of what it could be. So getting from place to place becomes harder. However, I had an endeavor, which is just these things you do for extra points, of dual phaser damage. Little known to me, that endeavor reset. It was like 5 minutes from resetting, so it was pointless to even go for it. But it reset during the task force, so it stopped mattering. But knowing that that was a thing, dealing phaser damage, I hopped into my Defiant, the USS Ares, which is my phaser ship. Because I have ships, I have like 17 ready-made ships that each do different things. Like the Princess, the Kennemer-class Princess, is my main ship now. It used to be the Ares, now it's the Princess, which does anti-proton beam damage. I've got a couple carriers. I've got the Cation carrier, whose name I don't remember, which does my Tetrion damage. I've got the Balak, which is my Romulan Riemann scimitar, which does plasma damage. I've got the USS Eagle, which is a Ryzian corvette that does disruptor damage, etc. Basically, if I see do this kind of damage, I switch to that ship and do that kind of damage. Well, the thing with the Ares is a full-on Defiant that has all the modules, which means it has the Battle Cloak. Battle Cloak means that even if Red Alert is up, I can cloak. Well, I figured I'm going to cloak to a spot, pick up people, when I activate the transporter, I'll decloak, because that's what happens. Then I'll cloak again and run to the next spot, and it'll cut down my time. Well, it turns out, because of the way it's coded, normally when you do a transporter action or something like that, if you're shot at, it knocks you out of it. But in this one it doesn't, because the synth are so goddamn numerous. Well, this also means it doesn't trip the flag that decloaks me. So I spend the entire first 3/4 of the game cloaked, just running from hotspot to hotspot, beaming people up, beaming them to ships. And only at the very end, when it's like, okay, defend the station, do I decloak and have the guns blazing. So that endeavor that I didn't even get actually made the task force a lot easier and a lot more fun for me. Like in the last one we did, I got all 5 of the battle cruisers into action. 3 of them got taken down through sheer attrition, but still, it was kind of cool seeing all 5 of them in action. You know what I mean? But, so yeah, 2021's been a good year to me, personally, so far. Like, yes, I started the year unemployed, but that wasn't the year's fault. That happened at the end of 2020. And we pretty much all blame everything on 2020. So, once unemployment starts rolling in, I can start stabilizing, I can get my finances under control, start getting shit repaired, like my bike. Like, my plan is to get the bike fixed, and then now get 2 or 3 replacement bikes, so that if something happens to one, I have backups. Like, multiple backups. And we'll just see where this goes. Because once I have bikes in operation, I have options. Because I'm not going to get a car, because that involves much more money. Like, if a bike breaks, I'm looking at maybe $70 to fix it. If a car breaks, oh boy, that can cost hundreds of dollars. And we already know that $70 is a lot to me. So, hundreds of dollars to repair a vehicle isn't an option. The amount of money I need to spend on gas isn't an option. And then there's the fact that I don't know how to drive, so I'd have to go through all that. And I don't really have the temperament to drive. I don't have the attention span for it. So I I would need technology to advance a lot more to the point where we have self-driving cars that you're allowed to self-drive. Like, I want to set this thing, like, okay, take me to work, and then sit in the seat and just go to work. And if that ever becomes a thing, I will go to theme parks a lot fucking more, because it'll be like, okay, take me to Busch Gardens, take me to Adventure Island, take me to SeaWorld, take me to Aquatica, take me to Disney World. And then I won't need to go with Reaper and his wife all the time. Not that I don't love going with them, but it sucks sometimes matching up a Saturday with them or having plans change when I could just hop in my own vehicle and on my way. You know. Ideally, I'd kind of like a self-driving minivan kind of a thing. You know, a vehicle that can hold like 8 people. So that I can go, because my friend goes, but like her brothers never get to go. And I'd love to take them. But the problem is, we only ever take one car, and it's full enough with all of us in it. To add 2 more people would be kind of... But I mean, I have the extra tickets that I could do that. It's just, we don't have a way to get them there. You know. But yeah, if I ever had a self-driving car, I would do that. I would go to a lot more theme parks. I'd go do a lot more things. And the thing is, I don't think that would really negatively impact my fitness, because I go to the store daily, not necessarily because I need things, but because I'm hyper and I want to walk somewhere. Like, when my bike's working, I ride that bike daily if weather allows. Like, if it's raining, I won't do it. But I really want an exercise bike. I had one for a while, but that was before my hyperactivity only had that as an outlet, where I used to be able to run around my room. I'd close my door and just run and literally bounce off the walls to burn up energy. And that's really not an option here. My furniture doesn't allow it, for one thing, but I think the roommates would get real fed up with me real quick if I did that. So that's been the case for a while now. The running thing actually started when I moved to Crystal River, because I had a field, basically. I'd walk out into that little field, and it had trees and other stuff that I could jump over and jump against and bounce off of. I think in motion. If you're wondering why I do this, it's because I think in motion. If you ever see me sitting around, my thinking is actually static when I sit. Like, I don't concentrate as well. I do better in motion. That's when my thoughts happen. That's why I pace. And so, basically, if I wanted to think about something or just fucking daydreaming to pass the time, I'd go out and run to do it, or I'd ride my bike, or whatever. It's an interesting little rewire my body's had, that to encourage me to move, my brain and body have signed some kind of mutual contract where if I don't get exercise, I fucking slump over and can't concentrate. I just turn into a fucking sludge potato. But yeah, I had an exercise bike back in the days when I was running, and the running stopped when I moved out of the trailer, because I remember the trailer specifically had a dirty spot above my door from me hitting it with my hands. And I hit it with my hands to keep myself from flying through the door, because I would just basically hurl myself around the room. Only one person has ever seen me do this, by the way. A couple people have expressed interest, but it's literally a case of if anything is in the room or out of place, I can't do it. Which is next to impossible now, because I have so many pets and they live in my room. But back then it was as simple as locking Kisa or Riddles in the bathroom and running. But the thing that brought this to an end was when I moved to the apartments out of the trailer, because just flat out, we were upstairs, and that would not fly at all. You know. And then I moved here, which for a myriad of reasons wouldn't work. But in case you're wondering, one of my friends basically said, I want to see you run. And I basically told him, like, mechanically that's not going to work, and I don't think I could if you were watching me anyway. But he basically told me, just open your blinds and I'll look at the window, because I want to see this process. And it sounds so dirty when I talk about it like that. It's like, I want to see how you jerk it. No. He just wanted to see how it is that I run around and exercise. Like, wow, that's a thing. You know? But yeah, that's the last time I had an exercise bike. And it didn't get as much use because I could just bounce off the walls. Now, without that option, I think an exercise bike would be honestly the best thing I could do. I'm going to look something up. How much they cost? Come on, do. Because if I get one of these things, it'll cut down on the wear and tear of my actual bike. Oh, there's one. Just under $200. Yeah, once these unemployment checks come in, if I'm getting the 400 extra a week, I might have to look into an exercise bike, because if I get an exercise bike, that'll drastically cut down on the wear and tear of my actual bikes. Because part of the reason they wear down so fast is I will not stop riding the shit out of them. So if I just conserve the bike for when I'm actually going somewhere because I need to go somewhere, it'll help a lot. Not that I don't still put like 7 to 10 miles a day on those fuckers as it is, but this will cut that down drastically. So yeah, exercise bike, I need to get one. Give me a nice little exercise outlet. I can put some headphones on. I can fucking set up my laptop, watch TV while I bike. That'd be fun. Yeah, honestly, I could have the ideal situation of getting like 3 bikes and an exercise bike, or 2 bikes, my other bike fix, and get the exercise bike. So that I've got something to burn off energy with, and I've got reliable transportation, where if one breaks down, I take it home, swap it out. Because I didn't miss work days when I used to have 2 working bikes. Because, matter of fact, the one that killed this bike, that ended up making me spend a bunch of money on Uber, was I got like a 10-minute walk away from home, broke the bearings, and had to come back home. If I'd had the other bike, I had enough time that I could have swapped bikes and still got to work on time, and nobody would have fucking known the wiser, other than, hey, why'd you show up on this bike and not the other one? Oh, I broke it, you know? But, yeah. It's been a pretty relaxing and uneventful week, honestly. I've done some fun stuff. I'm still experimenting with the channel, and I really appreciate that. That's been a lot of fun for me. A little bit of sad news. The Ruby Amity Arena game this month will be shutting down. And even though I've stalled, I've hit a point where I've stalled in the game and I'm not really getting any further. It's just sad to know that in a couple weeks I will never be able to play that game again. And that is something that I don't like about the online market. I mean, on the one hand, it's great because you have hundreds of thousands of fucking games to play. But on the other hand, if support for them ever goes away, it's gone forever, you know. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just can't play it anymore. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about the Nintendo or the Atari or the Sega Genesis is you don't need Sonic 2 to be supported. You just plug in the cartridge and play. But that's going to bring it to an end here. I will see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.